gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's September the 16th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell. And today, Matt's gatekeeper, zubee Charles, will be joining us as well as we discuss the news of the day, presented as always by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And zubee, welcome back to Good Morning CaneSport. Matt, good day to you as well. I'm going to get right to the point here because I got a plane to go catch to College Station. I am fired up for this one, guys. Would have liked to not have gotten the bad news yesterday about Xavier Restrepo likely being out with a foot injury. No confirmation yet from Team Mario Cristobal or the University of Miami, not responding at all to inquiries about Xavier Restrepo. So let me start there, guys. Obviously, if Restrepo can't play, which it looks like he can't, this is not what the script was for Miami. Matt, I'll start with you. How big of a deal is this for the Miami offense on Saturday night?
To me, if you lose Tyler Van Dyke, you have Jake Garcia, and I think Jake's really good. To me, if you lose Henry Parrish, you have Jalen Knighton and Thaddeus Franklin, who I think are very good. They've already lost Ian Nelson, and the line was fine. And I think the one guy that you really didn't want to lose is Xavier Restrepo. I mean, especially...
You mean the one guy that we saw dominate every single practice this fall, every single scrimmage?
It's not
the best receiver on the team?
I thought you were asking me. I don't know. You wanted to tell your own story about your life.
I figured I'd chime in.
The issue is the receiver depth is not real good. I'm not saying Xavier Restrepo is the greatest player on the offense. He's not. You know, Tyler Van Dyke's the guy you really would obviously never want to lose just as a player to injury. But because of the situation at receiver, because of some of the question marks that still linger, I mean, no receiver has had more than 4 catches or 53 yards in a game in these previous 2 games, with Xavier by far the leading receiver in both games. And that guy who had the 4 and 53, by the way, was Xavier Restrepo's backup, Brashard Smith. So yeah, maybe Brashard can fill Xavier's role, but you know, this is just not, it's not the week you want to have this happen, especially with my understanding being that it happened not on Saturday, where Miami had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you know, and Wednesday to figure out how they're going to work around it. But it's sort of more one of these Wednesday deals where it's like, oh, wait, you know, he's not going to be able to play, and scrambling. And the other problem is you certainly don't want Texas A&M to know. Texas A&M wouldn't even give out a depth chart to reporters for its first game. They're certainly not going to tell Miami who's playing quarterback this week, and they're certainly not going to tell Miami if their star receiver's missing a game. But the second Xavier Restrepo gets hurt, it's all over the Miami media.
It leaks everywhere.
It's, you know, Mario Cristobal literally, you know, he told me I had a strange question, and this is just a strange situation for him now because, and by the way, my strange question was, how did practice go today and how did the team look? That was my strange question. Now, I worded it in a Matt Shodell very elongated manner.
That's the problem.
That was my strange question. And now his question is going to be, how on earth does this receiving game keep Texas A&M honest? Texas A&M's strength is their secondary. They needed Xavier Restrepo healthy for this game, and it's, you know, my perception. I'm sure zubee will disagree with me, right, zubee? You're fine with Xavier missing?
No, of course not. But I feel like this is, you know, a big opportunity for guys like Brashard Smith, Michael Redding, Keyshawn Smith, you know, really show, you know, that they have that next man up mentality and fill in where Xavier, you know, is leaving off, you know, with his injury. Also, I want to see what Will Mallory does, kind of that safety blanket where, you know, Restrepo would be if Tyler Van Dyke needs somewhere to drop the ball off, to see how he does it as well.
So my phone rings this afternoon, and it's Mario, and he asks if zubee still has eligibility. You know, our viewers don't know this. Zubee was a wide receiver in high school, and a pretty good one at that. He just you know, only ran 4.5 and couldn't go 4.3, so he ended up having to become a writer instead of a major college football player. But he does still have his 5 years of eligibility And I told Mario, listen, like if you lose another body out there, we can negotiate a little bit. You know, we really kind of need a zubee at CaneSport quite a bit, but you know, we would consider taking one for the team if you need one. So, zubee, you're on hold for Mario. If they have any further injuries, you might get summoned to the practice field. So, just keep that in mind. But yeah, so there's so many subplots to this game, and this is just an extra one. What does Miami do now? This happened on Thursday, so their game planning is done. Like, you know, they've already done their preparation for Texas A&M, and so I don't know really what adjustments they can make. I mean, you know, obviously Brashard Smith knows all the plays that Xavier Restrepo runs. That's the easy solution. If they want to go extra tight end, Jaleel Skinner, use more of Mallory and Arroyo together, that should be available to them, I would think. I would think Mallory and Arroyo, you know enough to where they can make that adjustment in 2 days. But it's going to be really interesting to see how differently this makes Josh Gaddis call this game on Saturday. And, you know, we thought all the offensive intrigue was on the Texas A&M side of the ball. But now it's on the Miami side of the ball too. And it's going to make this extra interesting on Saturday night. So let's see. Let's talk quarterbacks. Zubee, you got to see Max Johnson play a little bit when he was at LSU. I think he quarterbacked 13 games or so with them. And what were your thoughts about Max Johnson as we sit here and try to figure out what Jimbo Fisher is going to do? Is he going to play Haynes King, the quarterback that has not done so well the first 2 weeks? Or does he switch to Max Johnson, the transfer from LSU, who everybody thought was going to be their quarterback, who split reps this week with Haynes King in practice?
So my biggest thing with Matt Johnson, my biggest takeaway, he's a good pocket passer. The biggest, you know, difference between him and Haynes King is Haynes can get it done on the ground, you know, far much better than Max Johnson. So I feel like in that aspect, you know, with Miami's recent struggle containing the quarterback, that might play in their favor with Johnson being back there, opposed to King. But Johnson still is a solid quarterback too as well.
All right, hey, Zubee, your internet's acting up a little bit on us, so why don't you refresh and we'll bring you back in a second. I don't know what happened there with your connection, but it's blurring you pretty good. So I'm going to take you off the screen here for a minute, refresh, and then we'll bring you back into the show. So Matt, you got LSU now. They're backed into a corner. They have not played very well the first couple weeks. They lose to Appalachian State. They are circling the wagons. We know that. It's not a cliche. There's a strong trend among sports bettors and just in football in general that when a reasonably decent team gets embarrassed the way that Texas A&M got embarrassed last week, they come back stronger the next week. And I think it would be foolish to expect anything differently from Texas A&M. They are going to come out of their tunnel breathing fire. There's no doubt about it. How important do you think it is that Miami starts out, fast in this game?
Well, first of all, there he is. If you're at dinner with two people, you don't want to be in the middle. I don't like being in the middle of this split screen situation here. You got to carry the conversation. It's very stressful. I'm not enjoying.
This is a secret plot on my part.
Why can't Zubee be?
Because I have not been able to keep you under control whatsoever. You have been a wild beast this week.
If I can reach over to your screen, I'll just slap you right now. Bam.
I knew I needed help. I said, Zubee, you got to come with us. You got to get up early.
Don't put me in the middle of the dinner table. Don't put me in the middle of these.
Zubee, and help me out with Matt.
I don't want to be in the middle of anything. But I will say, as it pertains to whatever that strange question you asked, that's what I'm saying. Whenever you ask me a question from now on, Gary, I'm going to say it's a strange question. That's a strange question. Why would you ask that, Gary? That's a strange question. Will a team rebound off of a horrible loss to a team they should have beaten? What we're going to find out, honestly, is Texas A&M a good team or a bad team? they might just be a bad team. If they don't play well against Miami, they are a bad team, you know? And if they play well against Miami, well, I think that's what most people expect. It's why they're favored. You know, I think Miami's a top 3, top 4 ACC team for sure. I think everyone would agree with that. So we're going to find out if Texas A&M is just garbage, you know? If Texas A&M is not garbage, and I have a feeling they're not, then Miami fans should be prepared for this to be a very close game, a game that Miami could lose. And fans need to be okay with that. You know, I can't emphasize enough. I don't want Miami fans to freak out that Miami lost to the team that lost to App State. Like, that's not what will have happened.
You're getting the pink for that one, Matt. Miami fans are supposed to be okay with. Oh no, the damn crocodile again.
Don't put up the
Miami fans are supposed to be okay with losing. Are you kidding me? No. They're not going to be okay with losing.
Even with a zubee here, you still don't listen to what I say. Did I say we're losing? Is that what I said? Is that what you heard?
Miami fans need to be okay with that.
If Miami loses, what I'm trying to say is it's okay. The worst thing that could happen for recruiting and for the program is for fans to freak out and start posting everywhere. Oh my God, what happened to Mario Cristobal? We lost to the team that lost to App State. We're worse than App State. That's not the message that should come out. If by some strange chance, by that 1% chance that Miami loses this game, Gary, according to you, like, that's not the message I think should be out on the internet, especially if Miami plays okay and plays clean football. It's okay to lose to a really talented team, which Texas A&M is, and they had a really bad day on Saturday. And App State totally outcoached them at every level.
Okay, Zubee, please explain to Matt that there's a difference between not being okay with losing, which everybody will be and can be, and freaking out. You can be not okay with losing and not freak out, not blow gaskets all over the internet. Understand that there's a whole season ahead of you. You can do both. You can walk and chew gum. Jay Collette, let me hear a cheer. He loves when I say that. But you can walk and you can chew gum. You can be annoyed at losing. You could be upset at losing, and you can not freak out. Right, Zubee?
Yes, I have to agree. I feel like this game, like Matt says, if they lose, it shouldn't be, you know, hey, the season's over type of thing, but just a kind of a reality check for the rest of the season.
All I heard Zubee say was, like Matt says. I zoned out from everything else. That's all I heard. Did you say anything else, Zubee, besides agreeing with me? I couldn't really hear the rest of it. But basically, listen, just because you sign his checks, Gary, Zubee, he agrees with me. He just said it. He agrees with Matt Shodell, Gary. Bam.
All right. Well, let's get into a little bit of how all this applies to the news of the day. And obviously, with this big game coming up, we take a closer look today at the matchups in the game, breaking down which team has the edge at which position and why. Obviously, in a game like this, Matt, the matchups can get very intriguing when you do it like this. Talk a little bit about these matchups in this game with Texas A&M, where you think Miami might have an edge, where you think Miami might have a problem.
Well, I'll tell you where Miami needs to have an edge. When Miami has the ball, they need to have an edge on the offensive line, because if they don't, given that their top receivers are going to be out, given that Zion Nelson should be back in full go, given that Texas A&M's line of scrimmage play was not good on defense, where they were freelancing all over the place last Saturday, Miami simply cannot let what happened in the first half against Southern Miss happen again. These offensive linemen have to be in sync. They can't have plays. I think there was one play where I'm pretty sure Jalen Rivers and John Campbell, between the two of them, didn't touch a single defender. I'm pretty sure I saw that on one of the video replays. That can't happen, you know? And you know Texas A&M is going to be throwing all sorts of stunts and blitzes just because they saw that. It's almost like an opening, like, oh, these guys don't seem to really communicate well with each other in certain situations. That cannot happen, okay? That's first of all, when Miami has the ball, that's where they have the advantage. That's where they have to have the advantage, because it's not going to be the passing game advantage anymore. You know, if you have Xavier, maybe 50-50, but Texas A&M has a really good secondary. That's the strength of their defense. It's just not an advantage right now throwing the ball from Miami. As much as I want to balance the offense, Gary, you say walk and chew gum. To me, run and pass, 50-50, that's walking and chewing gum. You say they should only walk or run, no chewing gum. I
think they
disagree.
can do both,
I think
Matt.
a balanced offense is okay.
I think you're going to get it. I think they can do both. I think, but I think it's going to be the short to intermediate passing game where they find success against this team as opposed to going deep.
The problem with that is that's exactly what Texas A&M is going to be playing and expecting.
But
so
you
gotta beat them down the field. If you're Texas A&M's defensive coordinator, Gary, and you're watching these games and know these receivers, they're all underneath guys. The running backs are going to have as many catches as the receivers. They're going to be pressing up. They're going to be stacking the box. They're going to be daring Tyler Van Dyke to beat them over the top. That's what they're going to do, and you better do that.
And that's when Keyshawn Smith better catch the ball like he did last week.
Yeah. You can't throw all underneath stuff. That's ridiculous. Anyway,
you can throw a lot of underneath stuff. You got Knighton, you got Mallory, you got Arroyo, you got Brashard Smith. You can throw a lot of underneath stuff against this team, especially if they come out and only play with 2 linebackers.
Well, that's their system, but yeah, the when Texas A&M has the ball, depending who's a quarterback, Miami might have the advantage at all 3 levels because their offensive line, I know they get their center back. That's actually a much bigger deal. Nobody's really talking about that. That's a big deal. And there was some talk in fall camp that, their backup center is as good as a starting center anyway. It was very apparent these first couple of games. That is not the case. Having a guy who really knows what he's doing at center and making the line calls and playing solid up the middle, that's a difference maker right there. So I think this offensive line is going to look a lot different this week, having him back than the first 2 weeks. I don't think that's an advantage for Miami, offensive line versus defensive line, but you need to at least be 50-50 there. You can't let them be better than you. But if Miami has an advantage on defense, I think it's just James Williams. That's the advantage. Because we saw that James can make game-changing plays. He had a diving interception in the first game. He should have, almost had another one last game. He is a guy that Kevin Steele can move around, that has the length, the agility, and the just the knack for knowing where to be on different plays, that he can, you call it freelance. It's not freelancing in Kevin Steele's system, but he will be given the freedom to see what the offense is doing, and based on his film study, have a pretty good idea where that ball is going and get there first. So to me, the advantage for Miami defense is James Williams, period. Because in Kevin Steele's defense, that's what he does. He puts players that you wouldn't expect to be somewhere where they're in a position to make an interception or break up a pass or whatever it may be. And to me, that's the guy who he's going to say, hey, this is our advantage, because James is more athletically skilled to me than any player on either side of the ball on defense. So you've got to let him be the Ed Reed. This is his chance to be Ed Reed, right? And hopefully if you're a Miami fan, hopefully this is James Williams' coming out party on a national stage, because as good as we all know he is, people around the nation aren't saying, oh, wow, James Williams should be winning national awards or he should be an All-American. This is his chance to show America, this is James Williams, and this is why I'm going to be a first-round NFL talent.
Me lastimé la cadera en 8º grado en una práctica antes de un juego. Si hubiese tenido life wallet en ese momento, mi proceso de recuperarme hubiera sido más rápido. Ser parte de este equipo es lo mejor, porque me está abriendo puertas y puedo conocer a más personas. Mi sueño es llegar a la NFL y jugar con mi hermano en la NFL. Yo soy life wallet, ahorrando tiempo, salvando vidas.
Zubee, you listening to this? Here's my question. How can Matt sit here, he just talked for 5 minutes, okay, about what he thinks is going to happen in the game. How does anybody have a clue? We don't even know. We don't even know what kind of defense Miami's going to run. We know nothing about this team. We know nothing about what kind of offense they're going to run, what Josh Gaddis is going to do. We don't have a clue, Matt. Well, how many plays have we seen Jalen Knighton for this year? 5 plays or something?
He played all last season, bro.
This is a new offense, new staff, new coordinator. We don't have a clue. Nobody does.
Yeah.
What this game is going to look like.
You probably want to move Jalen Knighton to wide receiver, Gary, because Xavier Restrepo's hurt, right? Give me a break, man. We know what Jalen Knighton can do. We know he's going to pass.
I think you might see Jalen Knighton flex out as a wide receiver too.
Yeah, we know they're going to pass the ball to him. I know he's going to run the ball. It's not rocket science.
Listen, I admit, okay, that I do not have a clue what's going to happen in this game. Okay, not a clue. We have no idea what Miami's systems really look like. how the current set of players fits into them. They've only gone against each other in practice. The Southern Miss game was very vanilla, and then they pretty much abandoned the passing game in the second half. I don't feel like people want predictions and this. I don't feel we have a clue what is going to happen in this game, unless you do, Zubee. What do you think?
I just really want to see. I know we've been hearing a lot about Josh Gaddis holding back the offense. My biggest thing is I just want to see him open up the playbook like he's been saying all year, with Jalen Knighton coming back as well. Kind of seeing him with the Paris Franklin 1-2 punch, how he kind of intertwines with that as well. So that's something I really want to see. But prediction wise, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, Texas A&M 5-point favorites, I guess now 5.5, depending on what sports book you go to. But at the same time, people are saying, like, I looked at a probability to win on ESPN, and Texas A&M, which is a 5.5-point favorite, the ESPN computers or whatever they use to put out those probability indexes, was giving Texas A&M a 45% chance to win. Now, how can you be a 5.5-point favorite in Vegas and have a 45% chance to win in a computer? That doesn't jive. You know what that means, Matt? That means nobody has a clue what's going to happen in this game, including you, okay? So you did a great job for 5 minutes. You were very eloquent. You were a linguist. People, I'm sure, were way more impressed with your your oral skills than Mario Cristobal was in the other day's press conference when he called you out. But I'm calling you out now because I don't think that you are an exception. I don't think anybody has a clue what is going to happen in this game, especially now that Miami lost their best receiver.
Okay, well, listen, first of all, the poll you're referring to, it was 45% chance Texas A&M wins, correct? And then it was 35% Miami and 20% undecided. So... Listen, you asked my opinion. You asked my opinion on what I thought the keys to the game were. And I said them, and now all of a sudden, I'm a monster. I don't even know what I told you. I don't want to be in the middle of this show. Move me over this way, and I'll happily be quiet. And you and Zubee can have a nice show while I drink my morning tea. I mean, come on, man.
All right, well, all that said, I did attempt to write a pregame column, so that's on the website today. You guys can check that out, see what you think. And we do really want to know what you think in all seriousness. Use the message boards today, tomorrow. Post your opinions in the war room. We'll all be on there interacting with you. Our community is growing every single day, and I'm sure this is going to be a very lively, very active weekend on the message boards. And Matt, I know I'm planning to be on there till the very wee hours of Sunday morning. This is going to be a late one, man. But I think fans are wired for this game. I was just talking to somebody. Last night I was talking to somebody who flew into Houston, and there already are Canes fans all over the place. He was telling me, and that's an hour and a half, I guess, so outside College Station, but it's one of the two airports that you have as a choice to fly into. If you go on to College Station, you go to Austin, or it's a lot easier to get flights into Houston. So I think most fans are going into Houston. The Canes fan is going to show up at this game. I don't know if it'll be quite like what LSU was in Dallas or what Alabama was in Atlanta. This is a little bit harder game to get to than those games in those major cities. But the Canes fan is going to show up, Matt, and they are going to be passionately into this game. And if Miami loses, they will be upset. But I actually do agree with you, though, in all seriousness, about the freaking out thing, okay? Because this program's not totally there yet. I mean, the depth is not there. You just lost your best receiver, and now you don't know who you can turn to because there's nobody that has proven that they can not that Restrepo had, because this was his first time as a main guy, but this is not a fully developed program in all areas, and I think we all have to be realistic about that, and that compromises your chances in a game like this when you got to go on the road on a Saturday night under the lights, prime time, national TV. I mean, it could become a freak out fest, but not amongst the fans. there's a lot of young players on this team that could be a little starstruck out there on Saturday night. So, we'll see what happens. All right, other stuff on the website this morning. We've got an article with Tyreek Stevenson, who talks a little bit about what I was just talking about, and Restrepo said the same thing to us this week. They can't let this game be bigger than it is. They have to turn that stadium energy that's in a negative standpoint in their direction into a positive. Zubee, let me start with you on this one. You play ball. I'm sure over there on the southwest coast of Florida on Friday nights, you walked into some hostile situations over there. It's not like the 305 and the 954, of course, but they get into their football on the left coast as well. And how do you turn that negative energy that's raining down upon you into positive energy as a player?
Honestly, from my perspective, I always, took boos as, hey, like they expect you to do something, so don't do it. With all the, energy come from Kyle Field, I heard it's sold out. It's just motivation, honestly, at that point when you hear all the, fans just yelling, hey, saying this and that. I always turn those boos to, hey, it's my time to shine, get them to boo a little bit louder.
I mean, this is a weird venue in some ways.
You know what? I'm gonna start booing you, Zubee, while you're writing your story. Anytime you're writing a story from now, I'm gonna start booing you. It's just gonna inspire you, right? Oh, he's gone. He missed my whole comment.
Did he freeze up on us?
You gotta get him a new internet, Gary. It's ridiculous.
I wanted to show you guys something, but I may have deleted it already off my computer. But they have some weird traditions up there. Like, the cadets bring dates to the game and they kiss in the fourth quarter. And, there's a lot of things that can distract you up there at Kyle Field. And it's big, man. It's I've been in there twice and, 100,000 plus people. I mean, that in itself can be a little bit of an intimidating factor. But I don't think Miami's going to be intimidated. I think Miami has the right mindset coming into this thing, and I think that they'll keep it in perspective and they won't get too caught up in the moment. I think they've been well schooled along those lines by their coaches. So we'll see. We also talked to center Ja'Kai Clark, the guy that was plowing guys into the bench last week against Southern Miss. And talk a little bit about the challenge that the offensive line is going to face with the Aggies defensive line. So that is certainly a story to check out. And we do an analysis on how Xavier Restrepo's reported foot injury might affect the Miami Hurricanes wide receiver room. But we also today have some recruiting coverage. And that's where Zubee comes in a big time way. And Zubee, there's some serious recruits that are making the trip to College Station for this game. Jaylen Brown, even though he's committed to LSU, he's going to check out Miami, Texas A&M. Hakeem Williams is going, the Stranahan receiver who's supposed to make an announcement in a week or so about where he's going to college. I would say Miami's mission on Saturday night is to delay that announcement. We'll talk about that. And then Andy Jean, from Miami Northwestern, who's committed to Florida, is also taking the time to go watch Miami, Texas A&M. So if I'm LSU, if I'm Florida, and I'm seeing these guys going out to this game, Zubee, I'm a little uncomfortable if I'm them. They clearly are going out there pretending to be interested in Texas A&M, but I think they're pretty clearly going out there to check out Miami and see how the Hurricanes show up in this big game. Let's take them one at a time. Let's start with Hakeem Williams, okay? Miami's been playing catch-up, no secret. Texas A&M has been right up in front. Florida State's been up there. Pittsburgh's been up there. You spent time with Hakeem this week. We've got your 100-yard walk with Hakeem on the website this morning. We had another story with you and Hakeem on the website 2 days ago. Tell us about your impressions of Hakeem Williams and what he's looking for when he goes to College Station on Saturday?
So, after spending some time with Hakeem and Stranahan this week, his biggest thing was he just wants to see, how both teams perform on the field, whether it be the receivers, whether it be the coaching. His biggest takeaway, I think, is just going to be, who comes out with the win ultimately. So with him making that trip up to Texas, another thing he mentioned, a lot of, South Florida guys play for Texas A&M, a lot of talented South Florida guys, obviously at Miami. He just wants to see how those players do. And that's his biggest takeaway from the whole weekend up at Texas A&M.
Now, it's no secret. I mean, we've been following Hakeem for a long time now. It looks to us like he wants to go away to college. Like, if he wanted to stay home, he would have committed to Miami a long time ago. Like Ray has, like Robbie Washington has. I mean, if that was his agenda, I mean, a year ago, we used to see him at Miami games a lot. We're not seeing that anymore. It looks to us like he has become enamored with leaving South Florida, and that's not good news for Miami. So I think the best thing that Miami can do on Saturday night as it pertains to Hakeem is look great out there. Play well, throw the football around, look really, really strong against Texas A&M, because what you want to do is you want to put doubt in his mind. And I know he's planning to make some announcement next week. It's probably not going to be Miami. You got a long way to go till the third week of December, okay? And when I tell you that this is going to be the wild, wild west again in December, it is going to be. Guys' NIL values are going to go up. Some guys' NIL values are going to go down. And, I think it's fairly safe to say that Hakeem is going to be in the NIL game, a very live player in the NIL game in December. And Miami can put doubt in his mind, I think, Zubee. And that's probably the best they can hope to do with Hakeem on Saturday.
I think so too as well. With Hakeem, although he's making his announcement on September 23rd, I wouldn't, put it aside. Well, maybe Miami gets, that last call in, or being a hometown team, they kind of push towards the end still. But I feel like a big performance on the field by Miami could go a long way for the Hurricanes when it comes to recruitment this Saturday.
Yeah, and if it doesn't go their way on the 23rd, it doesn't mean they still have a couple months to turn it around. So the important thing is look good and throw the ball well on Saturday night up there, and let him get. He's not going to be cheering for Texas A&M, okay? Let him get into being a young guy who's there cheering for Miami and experience a positive time there. And I think Miami can have a chance to get back into that before it's all said and done. All right, Andy Jean. This one's a little more baffling. He was all about Miami at the beginning of his recruitment, then suddenly decommits and falls in love with Florida. But he's another one I know Miami's not quitting on. And what feeling did you get in the time you spent with Andy Jean this week, Zubee?
So I kind of got the same sense of he just wants to get out of Miami, or he just wants to explore the other parts of the country. The biggest thing that he told me when I spoke with him is, I've played in Miami my entire life. I kind of want to experience some more. So that's why he said he went up to Florida, fell in love with that environment, and that's what ultimately factored into his decision. But with him going to Texas A&M and watching the Miami A&M game, I feel like that's another big step for the Hurricanes to prove, hey, don't leave home. We can compete with the best across the country, and you can have the same success at home. So that's one big thing that I took away from my time with Andy Jean.
All right, and then there's Jaylen Brown, who we did not have a chance to talk to this week, but very curious that he also is choosing to go to this game. He's committed to LSU. They haven't looked so hot early this season themselves. I mean, they lost to Florida State. I mean, they should have won, but they lost. And I'm not sure that he is rock solid on his commitment to LSU either. And, Miami's kind of like just staying in touch and hanging in there. So we'll continue to monitor that one going forward as well. Let's see what else we got. We got another story on the website today about a 4-star wide receiver with offer targets who's going to be attending. He attended the Miami Hurricanes game, and he has a connection with his coach, playing under Mario Cristobal at FIU. So be sure to check that story out as well today. All right, well, that's going to do it, I think, for Good Morning CaneSport. I'm not making any predictions. You guys want to take a stab at this, or are you going to punt like me?
Go ahead, Zubee.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to punt as well.
All right, we're smart. We're all punting, man.
I'm not smart. I don't care, man. I'm going to tell you what I think. I think one of the teams is going to win by 3.
It could. I think that's probably a decent prediction. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to go into the fourth quarter. I think it's a tough game, very tough game for Miami to win. Okay, you're going on the road Saturday night against an angry team that's circling the wagons. This is it for these guys. Like, embarrassed twice in 7 days in their home stadium. They are going to play like it's the last game of their life, and Miami's going to have to match their intensity. They're going to have to make some things happen. Certainly on offense, I think they're going to have to force a couple turnovers, and they're going to have to play clean, like, stay away from stupid penalties and things like that. You can't set yourself back in this game if you're Miami. Throw out everything you saw in the Appalachian State game. It means nothing this week. Okay, this is going to be a different football team. That I feel confident about. Like, we are going to see the real Texas A&M on Saturday, and we got to hope that we see the real Miami too, and that real Miami is good enough to win a game like this on the road. And you got one edge. I like the Miami coaching staff, man. You got guys there that know how to win big games. Kevin Steele, Josh Gaddis, Mario Cristobal. Mario knows how to do this. He went into Ohio State a year ago with his Oregon team, and they beat Ohio State at home. This is not that hard as that. This is less tough. The degree of difficulty is a lot less tough in this game than it was in that one. So, guys, I can't wait. I'm racing off to the airport now to get out there, and just really looking forward to it. And we'll have all the coverage for you guys on Saturday night. We'll have the post-game show, late night edition after the show with Dave Lamont, Bruce Warner, myself. So stay up late, join us on the post-game show so we can talk about the game a little bit and see what you guys think as well. We'll have tons of further coverage and reaction on Sunday. So if you like this show, hit your like button, hit your subscribe button. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, get your butt over to the website, please. Your subscriptions allow us to make everything possible. This is how we were able to steal Zubee Charles away from the University of South Florida over there on the West Coast and bring him here to Miami to cover the Canes for CaneSport, okay? So subscribe. Your first year, $1, CaneSport.com. So for Zubee and Matt, I'm Gary. Thank you so much for starting your day with us this morning. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and we'll see you on Good Morning CaneSport Monday morning. We'll see you on the post-game show late Saturday night. Have a great day, everybody.